Oreste DAversa.
Oreste, Bilbert and Downey with WCMY. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you. Yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Really interesting topic. Looking forward to it.
Yep.
All right. Oreste DAversa, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Got it. All right. We'll get going here in about 45 seconds, okay? Here we go.
Okay.
7:34 and 33 degrees on the morning meeting on WCMY. Good morning. I'm Bill Bernardoni, and talking with Oreste DAversa, a business coach, consultant, corporate trainer, university lecturer. Oreste, thanks so much for the time, sir. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So we're going to talk about a little bit about your book, Life Beyond the Pandemic, and also about the topic of quiet quitting. So first of all, what is quiet quitting? Explain it for folks.
Well, quiet quitting basically is just, as an employee, you're just doing the basics to your job. Whatever your job description is, you're just doing what's on that job description and not an inch more.
And so, are there any pros to this? That's never been something that I've done. It's not something that I've done in any job. But are there some pros to this, do you think, maybe, potentially?
Well, I think there's more cons than pros. I mean, what ends up happening is the person who decides to quiet quit is really putting their career in jeopardy, short-term and long-term. I mean, short-term, obviously the employer is not really seeing this person as a go-getter or really wanting to advance their career. And what's happened in recent times is the concept of what's called quiet firing, which is where the employer slowly pushes the employee out by really not paying attention to them. Furthermore, there are repercussions to quiet quitting that have been recently seen in the media.
And what impact has the pandemic had on all of this and on the topic and the discussion of quiet quitting?
Well, what's happened is what we've seen with the pandemic, it's brought in the perfect storm of a couple of things. You've got the Great Resignation, you've got the quiet quitting, and also what I call, which we knew about back in the year 2000, the great talent exodus that was going to happen. Well, the baby boomers were leaving the workforce and that big brain drain. So quiet quitting is really not helping anything. It's not really a win for the employee or the employer. And now also what's happened, there are repercussions where many employees sign an agreement when they take a position, and part of that agreement is if the employer has invested in them with education and training and such, and the employee leaves before a designated time, the employee is maybe financially liable for those costs.
You mentioned the Great Resignation. Are we starting to see maybe the end of the Great Resignation because of the concerns of a potential recession? What do you think?
Yeah, I think, I'm not going to use the word revolution, but I am going to use the word evolution. I think there's an evolution going on in the workforce, like there was at the turn of the century with working a 5-day work week and working 40 hours. I think we're seeing an evolution in the marketplace with the younger generation starting that. And I think everyone's trying to get their bearings about what the new workplace is going to look like.
Talk a little bit about your book. It's called Life Beyond the Pandemic. How did you come up with the topic, and what kind of led you to write it?
Well, what happened was, if you recall, in the beginning of the pandemic, there was just a mass loss of jobs and a mass loss of small businesses going under. So also my background, I'm a interfaith minister, which is a all-faith minister. My main concern was seeing all these people just losing their livelihoods, again, be it jobs and or small businesses. So I really wanted to give people a practical tool they can use immediately to get their lives in order and move on with their lives. Because spiritually, I believe we're all here for a reason and a purpose.
Yes. I think everyone can agree on that, no matter what faith system that they belong to.
Yeah, I concur. I mean, it's really, I think we all have a life purpose, and the book is really starts with the spiritual end of things and ends with the practical end of things of either finding a new and better job relative to your life purpose and or starting your business. Or in this day and age, really, you have the opportunity to do both.
Most definitely. So, Oreste, how can folks learn more about you and get copies of your book? And you have a website?
Yeah, the book, there's a complimentary chapter available in the book, lifebeyondthepandemic.com. And the book is also available in local bookstores and on Amazon.com as well.
Oreste DAversa, business coach, consultant, interfaith minister, on his book, Life Beyond the Pandemic, and the topic of quiet quitting. Thanks, Oreste. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
7:39 and 33 degrees. We'll take a look at the dollars and cents headlines coming up next.